Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Today, I want to tackle something that you may or may not have heard about. Exhibit A. If you look on Twitter and look directly at the Apple account, it appears that Apple has never tweeted before. What is the point of Apple signing up to Twitter if they're not going to tweet, you might think? But here is the thing. They tweet all the time. You just don't actually see it. What is this sorcery? I hear you cry. But social media has ushered in a new era of dark marketing. For example, today, 90% of Twitter ads, 85% of Facebook ads, and 60% of YouTube ads are dark or hidden from public view. Instead, those ads are only shown to targeted audiences. And this is far from ideal for brands trying to understand what their competitors are doing with their campaigns. And maybe that's the point. But enter BrandTotal, who built their AI-based agile marketing platform with a combination of cybersecurity techniques that enable marketers to ID dark marketing threats and react to competitors' social media marketing strategies, all in real time. So I got a feeling you're going to love this conversation. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Tel Aviv so we can speak with BrandTotal CEO Alon Leibovich, who's going to share how dark marketing works. And I do apologise for the sound in this because sometimes we do lose him slightly because for this episode we took somewhat of a West Wing walk and talk approach and had to stop recording while he entered an elevator. But apart from that, you should love everything we talk about here. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Neil. So my name is Alon Leibovich. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO at BrandTotal. What we do is agile marketing intelligence. In my background, I feel that I'm here by mistake. I'm actually a psychologist. I have a master's in psychology from the Technion, which is the kind of the MIT here in Israel, which kind of led me to the marketing and advertising ecosystem, media ecosystem, through interest. Became really intrigued with consumer psychology, and later on found myself kind of delving into the world of marketing through that specific lens, I would say.
Now, I'm quite excited to get you on today because I recently found myself questioning why Apple joined Twitter but never actually tweets at any point. But that was the moment I came across BrandTotal and discovered something that really surprised me. So social media has ushered in this new era of dark marketing. I mean, today, I think 90% of Twitter ads, 85% of Facebook ads, and 60% of YouTube ads are dark or hidden from public view. Instead, the ads are only shown to targeted audiences. So can you tell me a little bit more about this and maybe open up everyone's eyes that are listening about what's been going on in our news feeds?
Sure, definitely. So the phenomenon called dark marketing is definitely something that's gaining much more awareness and traction. To answer this question fully, I'll go back to my background, tell you how the company was founded, and I'll segue to the phenomenon of dark marketing from there. So I was doing after my psychology studies, I was doing strategy in McCann, working with all of these big accounts, Honda, Unilever, IKEA. And what got me really frustrated is that I couldn't figure out what my competition was doing digitally. One of the specific cases that I usually share that help kind of illuminate, no pun intended, explain what dark marketing is that we saw declining market share in the deodorant category. One of the brand managers sends out an email to the rest of us saying, guys, watch out. There's a campaign directed to teens by one of our competitors. So I remember myself walking up to that girl and asking her, how did you know about this campaign? Because we all missed it. And she said, I sat last night at home on my daughter's computer and I got the ad. Your daughter, I asked. How old is she? So she said 13, and I have another 15-year-old, and they both use the same computer. So the computer was targeted for the daughter, right? That was the target audience. The mom saw that ad by mistake. Myself, I'm a classic millennial male, right? Literally classic one, right? If you see me with the beard and all, I'm a cliche of a millennial man. So that means that I'm not going to be exposed to that specific ad because I do not fall under that segment. So I became intrigued. Segmentation that we just discussed is actually just one pillar of this much bigger and broader phenomenon called dark marketing. So that mom saw a banner ad, right? But what happened with that specific campaign on Facebook and in Instagram and on Twitter and on YouTube, and I could go on and on, the digital ecosystem is also highly fragmented. So even if I do bump into something, it doesn't mean that I get to see the entire picture. Not to mention that we live in a world that's only becoming more and more personalized. It's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. Now, let me be clear about it. Though dark marketing sounds like a nefarious phenomenon, it really isn't. That is the best practice of doing marketing. And feel free to also look it up, dark marketing on Forbes. It's recently been featured there. Dark marketing is actually the way to do positive ROI marketing, because that means that I'm going to reach the right audience at the right time on the right platform with the right message. It means that I'm not going to spend my media dollars. So that's actually very good. If I'm a marketer, I want the vast majority of my marketing to be dark marketing. By the way, that goes back to the numbers that you quoted earlier, right? 85% of the total digital sponsored impressions are dark. But the flip side is that it creates a huge problem, because if up until a couple of years ago, I could have just, flipped on the TV and just see what my competitors are up to. Now I just can't because of that fact that everybody is trying to do dark marketing. So that's the phenomenon.
And just to help everyone listening understand, can you maybe expand on exactly how dark marketing works and maybe throw in a few examples of how you actually deliver that right message to the right person on the right device at the right time?
Sure. So the Apple Twitter example is one of the best ones that you actually use. If you're actually going right now, and all of our listeners, please feel free to actually do that nice quick exercise. Please go to Apple's official Twitter page on Apple's official Twitter page. What you will find out is that Apple has around 2.7 million people who follow that page. And as you mentioned prior, Apple has not tweeted. That's what the actual page shows. So this is due to that actual practice, meaning if I choose to target a specific demographic, the subsequent choice is that I am excluding everybody else. This is why, basically, there is no visibility or no ability to pick up on everything else that is being transmitted. Just that specific audience will see that on their specific feeds if they are a part of the target audience. So the second example would actually, the best use case or demonstration of it goes to talk about Colin Kaepernick's, the campaign that featured Colin Kaepernick as a presenter for Nike called Dream Crazy. So what happened on that specific campaign is that Colin Kaepernick is a very controversial figure in American football. Colin Kaepernick actually kneeled while the national anthem was playing. He did that as a protest for how the government or how official bodies are treating Black people in America. So he's a very controversial figure. Nike decided to actually use him as their sponsor. And that kind of caught everybody off guard because on one hand, Nike has always been a brand that's talked about, that has embraced controversy, but this kind of seemed like one step too far. Interestingly, after that campaign had launched, if you look at what was being said on public media, by the way, including a tweet from President Trump saying that, calling this something somewhat of un-American, kneeling down when the anthem was playing. A lot of the people felt that this is going to have major backlashes for Nike. And these were the reports in the media. Everybody had predicted that the stock is actually going to crash and that Nike is going to suffer in terms of sales. That had lasted about, I would say, 3 weeks. One day after that ad had launched, we looked at that specific campaign on our dashboard that basically monitors dark marketing and the dark conversation, and we predicted it's going to be a major success. Why is that? So dark comments refer to what people commented on the ads themselves, on the posts that got to them. And if you think about it, that's the best indicator of what your target audience would have to say, or what would be that sentiment, what would be their sentiment on a specific ad. Since the media has no ability to monitor dark marketing, everybody just looked at the public sentiment, and referring as one of the best examples to President Trump, who called this un-American. So everybody expected the stock to dive. What really happened is, if you look at the dark comments, we saw that actually like one day after that ad hit, it was a major success. It really resonated with their chosen target audience and demographic, because the people who Nike tried to target with their ads loved Colin Kaepernick, loved his statement, and actually commented that the Nike ad is going to make them buy shoes. 3 weeks-ish after the ad had hit, the Nike stock hit an all-time high. Nobody was able to pick up or to understand, what was the driver of this, because everything was segmented, fragmented, targeted, and personalized to a specific audience. So the fluctuation in the market really took its time after figuring out what had really happened.
And I suppose the bigger question there is how much Nike stock did you buy, or did you wish you bought?
Listen, people are making fun of me for not being opportunistic enough and buying some Nike stock. It's definitely something that that when we saw, at first, right, like. You have, we are a startup, and we've been around for around 3 years now. But if the entire world is saying one thing, and you're the only one, saying the other, you question yourself. You know how it is, right? So am I getting something wrong? But it took us 3 weeks to figure out that we were the only ones that were actually able to predict that. Another interesting example, and that time we were, I would say we were a bit more sure about ourselves. We had predicted that the Gillette toxic masculinity campaign, which was also very controversial, is not going to end well and as expected, because we saw that the public sentiment was dark. But the dark sentiment, the people who were targeted with these ads did not respond positively to that campaign. They had thought that this is, not authentic of the brand, that this brand, like Gillette as a brand, had never taken that type of step and that type of kind of declaration, or it doesn't really connect with the brand values. We saw a negative dark sentiment. We predicted that it's not going to go well. And indeed, a couple of days or 3 days later, P&G's CFO went on record saying the campaign did not hurt sales. So I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot of $15 million campaign that are meant to not hurt sales. So that's yet another kind of example for us to believe that this was indeed an accurate prediction.
Fantastic. Some fascinating insights there. Incredibly intriguing. Really is. But I mean, given this massive proliferation of marketing technology now, how do you see the whole MarTech market evolving over the next few years?
Yeah, so it is a fascinating question, because we do see a lot, I would say, like a lot of tech being infused into the marketing world. And I think that the marketers who are not going to adapt are simply not going to be able to face the challenges that the world is bringing. I would point out to two major kind of trends that we're experiencing. One is the rise of direct-to-consumer brands, such as Away Luggage and Allbirds in the shoes, and like the entire mattress proliferation, Casper, Purple, Nectar. In the UK, there are banks, Monzo, Revolut, who are taking a whole other different approach to marketing, a very much performance marketing driven approach versus the traditional legacy brand approach. And what we're seeing is, I would say, the old world versus the new. It's performance marketing and brand marketing are coming closer together. That's our feel. We feel that even brand marketers that traditionally did not have a clear ROI or an ability to quantify how their impact, what is their impact, what is their direct impact on the brand, are now being addressed with these questions. And we feel that, it's going to converge and it's going to be streamlined. I think that this is what marketing tech is bringing to the marketing world: accountability, measurement, transparency. I think that long gone are the days where marketers, when the most popular sentence in marketing used to be, I know half of my marketing budget is not working. I don't know which half. I think that, it's a sentence that, if memory serves me right, was first said in the 1950s. And everybody that we know or that we work with are trying to make this sentence obsolete and extinct. That is one of the major trends that we're experiencing.
And I'm also fascinated that you must be speaking with lots of leaders and companies from some of the biggest brands all over the world. But, I mean, are there any trends around the kind of problems and opportunities that they're coming to you and asking for your help with? And how are you actually helping them achieve their goals when they come to you?
We're lucky enough to be in a hub where we actually work with the new emerging brands, the direct-to-consumer brands, and the legacy brands. And we find ourselves in a position where we're exposed to both these types of challenges, like the D2C challenges and the legacy challenges. I would say that one of the major challenges that everybody is facing, as I said previously, is accountability, transparency, and the ability to actually measure that. But if I'm taking actually like one step kind of back, we're in 2019, and most of the organizations that we find ourselves talking to have still not completed their digital transformation. We're helping them to build their marketing tech stack, and we find ourselves an actual partner in helping them usher in marketing that is actually data driven. Right. I don't think that we're in a place that we're in a time that marketing can be based on gut feelings. And let's do that because this feels right. I think that every CEO would now know to hold their marketing leaders accountable for how much money am I putting in, what am I getting in return. And how do I either cut costs or increase my revenue due to my marketing experiences? Another way of doing that, by the way, is doing and that's another big area that we feel that we're helping, quantifying this kind of very elusive world of brand marketing. We actually feel and see ourselves as mitigators between research on one end and execution on another, basically helping organizations become much more agile in their responses, because if they have a direct loop, a direct feedback loop of, okay, what is happening now and how can I actually adjust my marketing strategy on the fly, that really helps you save cost.
And what's next for BrandTotal? I mean, how do you see the company continuously evolving with these trends in an era of exponential change? Because it just seems to be just continuously evolving at a rapid rate right now, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. And, we've only been around, as I said, for about 3 years, but we already feel that that we are going through an evolution. So we started as a solution to a problem, right? A solution to a very specific problem. People did not have good enough view of competitive intelligence in digital, couldn't understand what is my digital share of voice and how much money should I allocate to specific digital channels versus my biggest competition. But we find ourselves moving towards more and more into the direction of helping them, as I said, build their marketing tech stack, becoming a strategic partner, and helping connect the dots in the marketing organization, streamlining everything that used to be very offline-ish, meaning research, something that is very static, and connecting it to something that is very dynamic and agile, which is media and execution. So we feel like we're growing with our customers, which is phenomenal. I can look back and say that I don't think that we're still doing what we used to do with each and every one of our customers. We've only evolved ever since. And it's exciting. It really is to be a part of such a, you want to be where change is, and we feel that we are. So exciting stuff.
Excellent. And if there is a CMO listening or a business leader anywhere in the world that is feeling a little bit overwhelmed with the onslaught of tech solutions in our world, what's the best advice that you would offer to thrive and survive in a digital age?
It sounds corny, but, it's, first of all, getting access to data, not, following hunches is good. But data-driven marketing is going to be indispensable and irreplaceable in the future. So that would be my first advice. And my second advice is do not be afraid to integrate these news sources into your day-to-day lives and help actively push that change. Because like any change, at first you might want to resist it, but at the end of it, if you can't beat them, join them. So adopt it and make sure that you're implementing it and executing according to it. That's it.
That's fantastic advice. And if there's anyone listening that wants to find out more information, especially around the world of dark marketing and dark social, what's the best way of reaching out and contacting a member of your team, or just finding out more information about BrandTotal and all the great work that you're doing?
Yeah, thank you. So just go to our website, brandtotal.com. There's a lead form there, and we're just leave your details, and one of our team members will follow up shortly with more information.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come and speak with me today. There's so many insights that we've unlocked there, and I think a lot of people will be thinking about Apple not tweeting and see that in a whole different light now. But more than anything, just thanks for taking the time to come and speak with me today.
Neil, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Dark marketing, dark social, it all sounds quite mysterious and maybe a little sinister, doesn't it, upon first hearing about it? But I think today's interview will give you a great conversation starter in pubs, bars and coffee shops all over the world. And I can almost hear some of you saying the words, did you know Apple appears not to tweet, but they tweet all the time, but you just don't see it? And then stand back as the confusion takes hold and you blow their mind talking about a world of dark marketing and dark social. And if you do, I want to know how those conversations went down. So please share them with me, and anything at all that springs to mind by sending me a quick email to techblogwriter@outlook.com. My website's techblogwriter.co.uk. You get me on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, all by having a quick cheeky look for Neil C. Hughes. Now, finally today, I want to give a big warm thank you to all my listeners in the US, especially those that have left ratings and reviews, because this show currently has 99 reviews in the US Apple Podcast Store. So if you're living in the US and listening to this podcast on an iPhone, you've got quite an opportunity here to be the 100th reviewer of the podcast. So you know what to do. Go on. If you do it, though, please send me a message and I'll read it out on this podcast. So keep those messages coming in and ensure that your podcast host doesn't get too lonely, sat in a room on his own talking into a microphone. But seriously, I hope you enjoyed today's interview as much as I did. And if you did, let's do it all again tomorrow. So thanks for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.